This is the video you've all been waiting for. The carnage, the blood, the gore, it's all here. Flying motorcycle parts and feet and blood and goo. This is what you've been waiting for. If you're not into blood and gore and seeing people crash, this might not be the video for you. So just a warning, but I'm going to go into great detail about what happened. As soon as the bike hit the ground, we lost the video. So blue screen. So I'm going to speculate about what happened and how I got up under the bike. This video was pretty hard for me to watch and very hard to edit. Mostly because the pain is still present. And I'm still missing my leg, and I have to watch it over and over to be able to edit properly. This may be the most painful video I have ever made. But it needs to be done. The story needs to be told. And my lessons need to be shared with all riders. Here's what you're going to see. 3 cameras, 3 angles. First, you're going to see the handheld and mounted Osmo action camera. The same video that you've seen on so many of my videos. Usually it goes on my helmet or my chest or mounted somewhere on the bike. It's an action camera, just like a GoPro. You will also see 2 other dash cam cameras. A front and rear mounted motorcycle dash cam that records on a loop. I will cut between all cameras as close to real time as possible without causing any kind of confusion. Both front and rear dash cams lose video, blue screen. You'll see that momentarily during the crash, but maintain audio. After real-time footage, you will see a slow motion edited version of the crash. You will also see digitally rotated and zoomed video. I will try to share my best explanation of what you did not see in my video. Some of my explanation is speculation, as I have a 1 to 3 minute gap in memory and consciousness around the blue screen. This video was made possible by Sierra Nevada and the smooth taste of hazy little thing. If you're having a hard day, try an IPA. This day started out just like so many others on my adventure. There was a bit of a sprinkle the night before, so I put up the tarp. But it was about 7:30 and I was hungry, wanting some coffee, but I didn't want to hang around here too long. I was just a few miles from the Kentucky border and decided to pack up in the middle of cicada mating season. Pretty wild experience. I'm packed up, 3 hours out of Nashville, and probably gonna stop and get some breakfast. Gotta get away from this deafening roar of the cicadas. As I cross the Ohio River into Kentucky, I'm using my Osmo action camera to film the bridge and the river and what I often do. What you may have noticed in a previous video here shortly, as I turn the camera backwards, you will notice a bag flying out. This was the first visible sign of trouble that was coming. It was an insulated dry bag, like a cooler, a collapsible cooler. But as soon as that bag fell off the bike, it was probably mounted under the dry bag compression sack that was holding my sleeping bag. And here we're crossing into Kentucky, and I have less than a mile left on top of the bike. And to get a better look of what you may have missed, here's the rear mounted dash cam showing you the bag falling out. This was to have devastating consequences. As you can see, the stiff nylon webbing that is currently holding the sleeping bag to the top case is loose. This nylon webbing is the only thing holding my sleeping bag in the compression sack. As you can see, the sleeping bag starts to bounce off the rear tire, and in a few moments, as I'm passing the big semi car hauler, the pressure wave from the car hauler pushes the sleeping bag up into my tire, and you will see eventually it gets sucked in under the bike, locking the rear wheel. And here is another angle from the front mounted camera, even more terrifying. As you can clearly see from this video, I lost a piece of gear, and most likely it's because I had unsecured dry bag, and most likely I had a trash bag that was mildly secured with bungees, and that might have been taking some tension off of the webbing, and that's the only thing that I can think of that might have caused this. But clearly, once this sleeping bag is off the bike and hanging, this is the proximate cause of the crash. And obviously it's a freak accident, it's a freak incident, but I have been traveling for close to 20,000 miles with this setup on this motorcycle. This webbing has worked really good and has never come loose. But typically when I am carrying trash, I make a pretty quick stop on the way out of camp to secure, dispose of my trash, and I did not do that this time. I have been very outspoken about my injuries, the role that my riding gear played in my injuries. Besides my lost foot and smashed toe and a few skint and bruised places on my body, I feel very lucky that it wasn't much worse than this. This is where most of the speculation comes from. If you don't know what a high side is, you just witnessed one. It's when the rear wheel is spinning and then all of a sudden it regains traction, catapulting the rider many times, and that's the only thing that makes sense. To be able to get my right foot under the left side of the bike as it's sliding down the interstate, it's going to take some kind of a catapulting action like that, slingshotting my body as the bike comes over on top of it. Just a guess. I spoke about my luggage coming loose earlier. This is a tried and true system as long as these straps are secured under the buckles. And this is the front side of the top case, and it has buckles, and it works very well. It's easy to adjust, relatively easy, and any slack on this is usually taken up by some small bungees that I have attached in the front. Obviously that didn't work for some reason. I'm guessing that the dry bag that was stuffed under the compression sack came loose as a result, probably of the trash bag that was in front, probably getting blown loose and bungees losing the tension, and then this eventually just working its way out as this black dry bag here, as you see. Yeah, that's again, this is just pure speculation, but the bag, the compression sack was relatively well secured. It just could not stand all that wind going back and forth, and it came loose, and I'm guessing one of the straps probably came loose altogether. and that left the remaining strap kind of pointless. Here is some interesting footage from the rear-facing dash cam I would like to share with you. I don't remember, probably a minute to 3 minutes after I was thrown from the motorcycle, I remember the tank slapper very vividly. It's imprinted in my brain. But after the tank slapper, I just remember waking up in the middle of the interstate and people all around me, and you can see the people pouring out of their car right now. I was really shocked at how much attention I got so quickly. I had tourniquets, probably 2 or 3 tourniquets, I can't even remember. Tourniquets applied by civilians very quickly. And I also had people bringing gear that had been slung off the bike. The response was pretty overwhelming, and it might be one of the reasons that I'm here today. I don't know how much blood I was losing, but obviously I was pumping out a little bit from the concern of these citizens. And there's one of my bags that slid down. It probably had $1,000 worth of camping gear in it, and I'm grateful to the people that surrounded up my gear. That bag, the dry bag that you see there on the side of the road by the gate, the fence, brand new, and it's got a tiny little pinhole in it from sliding down the road, but I'll talk more about that in the future. Yeah, it was just very very heartwarming to go back and look at the response. I wished I could have gotten a better angle here. And here this guy's coming to snatch this bag and elevate my leg, and it was about this point where I started having 2 or 3 different tourniquets applied to my leg. But yeah, the response was really overwhelming. A couple of deputy sheriffs rolled up, and one of them even asked me what I needed. And I think he was at the time talking about, what do I need from the bike? What does he need to do? And that was probably the biggest thing that happened to me, is that he snatched the top case off the bike. Had all my electronics in it, computer, laptop, cameras, all the stuff that I really needed to be able to function. And I'm not sure what this guy did. He's probably just over there making sure that nothing's going to catch fire. But yeah, I'm back there by the first car where you see that guy walking a good ways behind, and the only thing I was concerned about is getting run over. But the traffic was stopped, and I was like, hey man, you guys dragged me out of the middle of the highway over to the side. And they said, no, you're fine, traffic has stopped. And you could see that I guess that was one of the deputies rolling up there. And yeah, it was very heartwarming to see the response. I would say one of the most important lessons that I learned was the value of good riding gear. That gear saved me from probably being in the hospital, maybe even being dead at this point. I know that the crash was so traumatic. I guess I hate to say it, but I feel like I'm lucky that I only lost a foot. Didn't wind up in much more worse trauma than I had. I had 2 broken ribs and 2 broken vertebrae, and really, I guess maybe I never felt them because of the pain in my leg. But yeah, I am a really strong advocate of good riding gear as an investment, and I think people, the more money you spend, the more comfortable you can be, and the more safe you can be in something that takes all the damage and takes it away from your body as best as you can. And also, obviously, be more diligent about securing your gear to the bike. It's a freak accident, but the freak accidents, the main cause of the freak accident is my complacency. I buckled stuff to this bike so many times, I guess I just got complacent and didn't think that. Most likely the problem was, usually I dump my trash within 5 miles of camp. I find a place to dispose of my trash. I don't have to ride with it, don't have to worry about it flying out off the bike. But this time I didn't, and I paid a pretty big price for it. So maybe this video will help you, I hope so, And if you need more information about the gear, I made a pretty good video about that. I'll link that here in the end and in the description. Hopefully you can avoid a similar fate as me. Just be careful and consider spending some money on some good riding gear, and put less emphasis on looking cool or being comfortable. I think they're both very dangerous when it comes down to it. Don't be like me.